Hi everyone, it's Liz Costanzo again, and I'm here to talk to you about using single point rubrics. So in this next lesson, we are going to differentiate between different types of rubrics, and then you're going to have the opportunity to create a single point rubric aligned to an upcoming standard or learning target. Let's talk briefly about the holistic rubric. The holistic rubric provides a comprehensive description of characteristics with 3 to 6 performance levels. The example in our slide is from the SAT essay rubric from June of 2021. The advantages of the holistic rubric: it saves time when grading many papers, and this is a consistent way to grade among calibrated raters. However, some of the disadvantages, if you're helping to foster assessment-capable learners, will be the lack of targeted feedback, and it's difficult when students are truly working in between the span of performance levels within a characteristic. So that's the holistic rubric. The DODEA writing rubrics are analytic rubrics. They're itemized and defined list of criteria scored along a proficiency continuum. The advantage, of course, is that they are criteria-based feedback, and it's very diagnostic. The disadvantage is they're somewhat visually overwhelming for students, and they're also time-consuming. Next, we have the single-point rubric. A single-point rubric is itemized and defined list of criteria scored separately from each other based on the highest proficiency level. The advantages of the single-point rubric: it's student-friendly, and its open-ended areas of concern and excellence allow for addressing issues not always contained in an analytic rubric. The disadvantages is the feedback. It's writing, and more writing, depending on student performance. You can use a single-point rubric to communicate about learning in a variety of ways. First, it can be used as a reflection tool for individual learners after a project or assessment. It's also a great basis for preparing for student-led parent-teacher conferences. It can be used as a peer feedback tool for pairs or groups of students. You know how hard it is to get students to give each other positive feedback as well as criticism. This rubric makes positive feedback half the exercise by design. Next, it can be used as a coaching tool for teachers and students to get to use together. If you have just a few precious minutes to give useful guidance to a student, this is the tool for you. It gets to the heart of the matter as efficiently as possible. The single-point rubric are simple to create. They provide clear, specific, and higher quality individualized feedback. The focus is on feedback and improvement, not just a grade. It allows for flexibility in teacher feedback without losing clear expectations. It supports student performance and creativity beyond proficient, and it encourages students to actually read and internalize our feedback. Many advantages of the single-point rubric, and what I love about it is it also supports the idea of an assessment-capable learner, helping our students own their learning around the single-point rubric. So now you're wondering, how do I design a single-point rubric? First, you need to determine the rubric that should be used on the writing task. So we're looking at writing here. For the social studies teachers, we could also look at our historical thinking rubrics that we use from SHEG, and those are included in as a resource for today. So first, determine the rubric that you want to use based on your writing task. We have the argumentative, informative, and narrative writing pieces, and we have the common versus grade specific. So let's say we're going to be working on argument today, and we're going to pull the grade specific. So then the next step is you're going to isolate the descriptors in column 4. These descriptors represent what it takes to be proficient in the category, and our categories are development of ideas, organization, word choice, and mechanics. So we're focusing in on that piece, just one, and we want to focus on the proficient column because that's the end game for the kids. That's where we want them to be. Next, you're going to create a table of 3 columns and rows that match the number of descriptors you are assessing. So as you can see in my example, we have the 3 columns going down because I am using the proficiency here, and it has 3 bullet points, so I'm going to pull those into the rubric so I can assess them or have the kids self-assess based on those 3 points. Next, I need to figure out my column headings. In the middle is always the criteria, and that comes from the rubric, the larger analytic rubric. Then my headings for the other two columns on the left, I'm going to have headings for improving, and on the right, I have headings for exceeding. So for example, things that can improve, things that are awesome, a grow and a glow. How can you strengthen your work? What aspects of your work are exceptional, areas for improvement, and evidence of exceeding the standard. So different types of headings that I'm going to put in my column, but remember, in the middle is always the criteria. So now you're going to use the middle column and insert your descriptors. So I know what I'm going to have on the left and the right as far as the grow and the glow and the grow, or the grow and the glow. And then in the middle is the criteria. So I've broken that down. I've taken the descriptor from Proficient and popped them in there. So now it has become a single point rubric. So now I have my rubric set up and ready to go with the kids. I can also have this as a reflective questioning tool to give the students even further ownership in the learning process. For example, students could respond to, what do you think your best descriptor will be and why? And what do you think you still need to work on, and how do you know? And those questions go at the bottom of that single point rubric, so the students can respond and reflect, as well as take a look at their writing here. So they're kind of anticipating where they're going to be and where they think their work is going to need to continue. And I know I've said this before, I'll say it again, it gives ownership to our students, and that will help them become more assessment capable learners. At this time, stop the video, and you have 2 more videos to watch to take a closer look at those designing the single point rubric, and then you're going to have that opportunity to create your own. Thank you so much.